So I own a company that does transaction management where we assist agents with their buyers, with their sellers, making sure that the process from, contract to close is seamless or as seamless as possible, making sure that their listings are in the MLS, pretty perfect and marketable for potential buyers. And yeah, that's essentially what we do.
Tell me a little bit about the evolution of your business because you've dominated in your space.
Well, I mean, I like to think that we do provide like a really awesome service. But yeah, I mean, I've been doing real estate. I'm now, I think, going into my 11th year. I actually had previous experience before that, but quite honestly, the catalyst was my family, like my kids and everything. It was 2019 and we were going through a hard spot with one of our kids. And I was just like, something's got to give. Like, what do I do and everything. And I take a lot of pride in my work and all of that. And I knew that I also take pride in being a mom and everything and raising good humans. And so I'm like, how do I do both? And so then I just decided, and it was really scary, like really scary. I needed a lot of cheerleading from my husband, like a lot. And, like he would sit down with me and we would come up with budgets and everything. And I'm like, okay, like I think I've, made enough connections. I think, people know that I'm a trustworthy person and everything. And I just decided to make the leap. And it was just, it was scary. But now, I mean, and I feel like anybody that's kind of made that leap looks back and they're not regretful. They're very happy that they did it. But it's hard, like pushing through that. And yeah, I think just to me, it's about relationships. I think that's kind of how I have, built the business and everything and gotten a reputation of, she's going to be there. She's going to hold my hand, hold my client's hand. So yeah, that's the biggest thing to me is the relationship between our agents and also their clients.
Wow. And then you've got a team now. Are you one person show? How is that working? And why did you?
Yeah. I have, it's just Nikki and I, and that's actually a really cool story. She's more than just a teammate to me. She calls me her boss friend, and I love it. And so it was the end of 2020, and real estate was nuts, absolutely bonkers. And I had just reached out to her randomly. Side note, I started to get into like being healthier and all that kind of stuff. And I started planking. And, we're in the middle of COVID and everything. So I started like this planking group and she was a part of it. And I was just having a really bad day that day. And I didn't want to plank. I was like, this is going to be terrible. And I reached out to her, or actually, I take that back. I put on the Facebook page, I was like, I have no motivation. Anybody want to like cheerlead me and everything? And so Nikki, who also hates planking, was the first person to respond. And I had known her previously.
Do you think your planking group?
Yeah, she is
hates planking.
Yeah. Yes, totally. She'll do it because she likes to be healthy and everything, but like, no one likes it, But it's efficient and it's quick and all of that. And so anyway, I had known her years before. That's how we connected. But then, we became friends. And so she motivated me. And I hadn't texted her in forever. She actually lives down in the Charleston, South Carolina area. And she had moved with her kids and her husband and everything. And it was like catch-up time. I felt like this was like a good opportunity. And I reached out to her and I was like, you have no idea how much this meant to me. I was really having a bad day. And started talking about husbands and kids and work and everything. She started asking about what I was doing. And she was like, what is it that you do? And I used to work with her doing what I do for her. It was just on a team. And I was like, Nikki, I'm doing what I did.
Same thing.
Yeah. And she was like, oh my gosh, you were so good at it. I was like, well, thanks, But I knew her personality. And like me, being a mom is also, important to her. Being present, is important to her. And at the time, I mean, I was running ragged. Like I said, real estate was crazy. And I threw it out to her. I was like, anything you'd want to join? Are you interested in like doing this? And she was like, I am interested. She hated her job, but the perk that she liked about it most was that she could work from home. It allowed her to be present for the kids. And so we talked about it. I am a no nonsense, black and white. I don't like it when people like fluff it and sales pitch you and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, sometimes the hours are crazy. Sometimes, you can go on 2-hour walks and everything.
Yeah.
It just depends. And so anyway, talked it out, and 3 days later she told herself she was looking for signs. They were anchors. And she was seeing anchors everywhere. And she decided to come aboard, and it's fantastic. And she's also been there for me personally and everything. So it's just a really great, relationship between the two of us. I really couldn't ask for a better teammate, friend, just everything about her.
Sounds like
person.
relationships really are a very strong
Oh,
anchor
absolutely.
in your business. And
Very big. Yeah, you have to trust who you're working with, and we're not doing brain surgery, but we are talking about that we are dealing with people's investments. And real estate, buying property is one of the biggest investments you make, and you don't want to go into into business with somebody who doesn't take it seriously. It's just, oh, I'm going to start logging on at like 10 a.m. and everything. It's just, that's not who you can rely on. So,
yeah. So 10 a.m. is late.
yes, 10 a.m. is late. Yes, it is. Oh, yeah.
You're like, the day is over by 10 a.m. You've already done so much before you came in here today.
Oh, I did. But I did get up earlier than what I usually do. I am not a morning person. There's a nice thing about working from home is that you get to work in your pajamas. I don't usually look like this.
Why are you so badass looking? No, seriously. Like, you have such a strong, visual, bold brand. Why? Where'd it come from?
I guess, well, first of all, I am a twin. So, some twins do like to look similar. Some like to look completely different. So I was like, I wanted to be my own. I hated being called, my maiden name's Kiefer. I hated being called Kiefer. I'm like, no, I'm Kim. My sister has her name and everything. So I want to, identify. And then it was also, I was younger having kids. Like I was 25 having my first. And so like, you're like, I'm still in college, or feel like you do and everything. So I just was like, you know what, now I'm getting older, but it's fine. But I'm like, I want to go for a different haircut. I just want to.
You're like, I'm a cool mom.
Yeah, exactly. Although now my kids say that I have a mom haircut, and I'm like, really?
You do not have a mom haircut.
Well, thanks.
Not that that's bad, but.
But yeah, and then I had the haircut, and then, well, as I'm getting older, I'm getting grays and everything, so I have to color my hair. So I'm like, I'm going to do something fun then, I can get away with it for now, Although it is kind of cool, like where I'm walking around and I'm just observing people. And I'm seeing women like in their 60s and 70s that have really cool colored hair, and I'm like, okay, they're more trendy than I am.
I can pull this off for longer.
Exactly.
I don't have to worry about.
Yes.
Once I hit a certain.
Totally. Yeah.
No, I love that.
Thank you.
Okay, so in terms of like kind of pulling it right back into the real estate world, what are some of the biggest struggles that you see agents pushing through like right now? Because when you started in 2019, that's a different era.
Market. Yeah, it was a definitely market. Yes.
I called it era, but yes, market.
Yeah. No, it was a different market. As we know, marketing has changed a lot. Like during 2020, everybody's in shutdown, so they're playing with their phones and video and all that kind of stuff, and it just like changes things. So, I definitely see that, agents getting used to it. I definitely see, like I'm in the 40-year range and everything, and I talk to my friends in that range, and we're all like, why am I asking my kids? Look, so technology would be, like getting used to like the new technology and feeling confident using it. Like we all got into this kind of rut of being comfortable in our, box and everything, and now looking outside of that, And I will say that's even the case for me also, trying to get out of that box, marketing. Um, and then, I mean, I do feel like clientele has changed. I was actually having quite a few conversations with different people and everything of um, people I just feel like are the now, now, now. There's no patience, there's no grace, there's no caring about people's feelings and what they're going through and all of that. And so I feel like agents are, especially the agents that I work with, because I do feel like you attract who you work with. And so a lot of the agents that I work with truly care about their clients, but sometimes they do come across clients that are just like, I want nuts and bolts, no nonsense, like, why didn't you do this for me? Like all that kind of stuff. And, yeah, I think I know it's hard for me too when I'm dealing with, a client like that. You try to be, what's the phrase, kill them with kindness and everything. Because
Sometimes that's hard though.
it is, yeah, but we're all humans. And I
Yeah.
think that, because we are so digital and everything, and things are done at the drop of a hat using DoorDash and foods at my door, things like that, that the humanality, the person, knowing the person is being taken out of that, and that's being projected in how they are treating other people, their agents, like the other side, them arguing with the other side. And
Yeah.
so
It's very short-sighted when people are very reactionary like that versus thinking
right.
relationship-wise, that long-term, like, kill them with kindness always, I feel, has always worked in my favor. Like, I've never been disappointed by, if somebody's having a bad day, give them the benefit of the doubt. I do that often. Like, if I see somebody just kind of either not acting themselves if I know them, or they're just, if I don't know them, they're just kind of being a little bit of a butt.
Yeah.
I'll make up a really, really bad story in my head of like something they're going through. That way it allows me to excuse the behavior and still treat them with the respect that I would want to be treated with if I were like having a really bad day and not in my normal state of mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually do something very, very similar, because I know that there have been days that I have been short. I mean, normally it's at the expense of my kids, poor things, but
Yeah, and that unfortunate that like the kids get the short end or the
I know. But yeah, I do. Everybody has a story. Everybody is going through something. So there was actually, well, I haven't actually come up with a word for 2024, but 2023, there was a word that I came up with, which is sonder. And sonder means just knowing that, we're all humans and that we are all going through something. And even like the person that's, walking by you on the street, they're going through something, they're thinking through something, and it's not a competition. It's not, is what I'm going through more painful than what you're going through. We're all going through something, and treating them with kindness and knowing that they are humans. They are not robots. They are people. They have feelings, and that's important.
Yeah. Do you ever have the sudden urge to like go and hug random strangers?
Not hug, but I do. It's funny that you say that, because my best friend and it's not hugging, but we will, if I see someone come through, like it was this past August, and this woman walked through this restaurant, and I mean, she looked amazing. And, she had put beads on her face, and, was wearing like leather pants and like this dynamite outfit. And I just, like, she walked by, and I'm like, you look fabulous. Like, I literally told her that. And she was like, thanks, it's my birthday.
You made her day.
Yeah, I'm like, happy birthday, that's so amazing. So yeah, I mean, or like I'm super into games, like I'm a little competitive. But we were out one time, and there was this family that was sitting beside us, and they were playing this game called Five Crowns, which is kind of newer. It came out like a couple years ago, and I'm like, oh, you play Five Crowns? Like, oh, you should do that strategy. Yeah. Like, oh, don't do that. Like, but yeah, I don't hug people, but yeah, I definitely like just try to break barriers, try to, just, I don't know. I know it's nice for me, when someone, comes up to me. I do get compliments on my hair like all the time.
I'm sure you do.
So it does. It makes you feel special. And why not? Like, it's so easy to spread a little bit of joy. Like, you don't know what, sometimes it's just the little things.
Well, I do have a sudden urge to hug people.
Oh.
One day I'm just gonna like act on my urge. I'll be probably on the news, like random lady assaults people down the street, hugging them. Like,
Making me cough. Oh my goodness.
yeah, no, like I do. I just influence.
I
like,
love
oh
it.
my god, I love you so much. I just want to hug you.
Yeah.
And, like perfectly random strangers, and then I'll try to like, how would they react if I'm like, no, not today, Leah. Like,
I love it. I think you should. I absolutely think you should. And when you do, you need to
like
message
get punched
me.
in the face
Yeah.
or like.
I'll bail you out. Don't worry. I'll put you on speed, or you put me on speed. Yeah.
Remember that conversation? Yeah, I need you to bail me
Yeah,
out now.
yeah. I'm a woman of my word. I will do it.
Oh man. Where do you feel like overall the industry is going? Because lately there have been a lot of lawsuits, industry changes, rules changing, people leaving the business, people joining the business, new brokers, people changing their brokerages. Like, how do you see all of this playing out? Because you're kind of looking at it from a different vantage point than the buyers, sellers, and the real estate agents.
Yeah. This is one thing I'll say about real estate is that we are tough. We weather storms. I mean, they've been through, where people are going through foreclosures and short sales, and how do you figure that? I do think that this is another, little blip and everything, a little thing to weather and everything. But the biggest thing that I think that myself and real estate agents is proving their worth. And I do think that they are worth their talent, their time. I mean, there is a lot that goes into real estate. I cannot tell you the number of friends that, come to me, and I'm like, and they are like do-it-yourselfers and everything. And so if they're coming to me, I mean, there's seriously value in the knowledge. I mean, my husband likes to talk about how you can, the reason why you could go on like YouTube or whatever to like learn how to like fix a car and everything, but it's a lot of money if you mess it up, like that's a lot that you're out. So you pay the mechanic and everything, not because you don't have the ability to learn it, but he's already got it here. He has the years of experience of doing it. And I think that's the same thing in real estate. Like, there's so many different nuances, or, so many different ways of just like even lending, and knowing who the good lender is, and who the good title company is, and who you want to use as a processor. And that's not something you can learn overnight. Like in the real estate business, if you're in 2 years, you're still on the green side.
Baby.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's a lot of value in the knowledge that we know that still is a huge benefit to both buyers and sellers. Even sellers, like knowing how to stage a property, and how to the curb appeal and all of that, and walking through, and the hand holding and all of that. And I really don't see it, like I know that some things are getting automated, but I do think that with a little bit of tweaking, it's still going to be a very valuable service to.
I agree 100%. I think the industry and the value that a good agent provides, because like all industries, there's the ones that are really trying to get by with the bare minimum, and hopefully this current market will weed them out.
Yeah.
Because it's not good for the industry, it's not good for the clients, it's not good for the other professionals that are going above and beyond. So there's those people, and I think that's where a lot of the crap that happens is because of bad decisions from a very small percentage of agents. But then, the ones that really know their stuff, they make the experience flawless. They help the savvy seller or buyer make better decisions because they've got more information, they're guided, they're a true advisor, and I don't think that's going anywhere, whether it's for real estate, for financial services.
I was just, that
Yeah.
was the same thing that was on my brain too, like financial planning for sure. Yeah, it's complicated.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things we don't know, and it's not something that you can just YouTube and pick it up and all of that. It really just comes from experiences and, like trial by fire, essentially,
And it's like those things that just pop up last minute where like you didn't plan for that and there's a YouTube video that's going to walk you through it.
Right,
So.
exactly.
Speaking of like tough situations, what's been like one of the biggest, like, oh my gosh, either that was a huge mistake or a really tough life moment, but thank God I went through it because now I'm got thicker skin or got another experience that I can make better judgments on in the future.
Yeah, I mean, we're all human. We make mistakes. There have been mistakes that I have done of, you know, putting my foot in my mouth, occasionally, and it's embarrassing. You feel your heart race, you feel your face get flushed and everything, but going through it is a humbling process, and just taking ownership, like that. I mean, it's hard, but just, yeah, I made a mistake. I did that. That wasn't what I intended to do, but that's not an excuse for how it affected you. And, and then figuring out, okay, what can I do to safeguard that I don't do this again? I mean, simple things such as, just even putting a listing in an MLS and everything, and, putting something in there accidentally or whatever. It wasn't my intention to do that. And fortunately, it's never been anything terrible, but I also am someone who likes to have a certain type of caliber of service. And, I just don't like doing it. I mean, I guess it's not like super tough. I mean, probably the toughest one was going from being salary commission to commission, or going from salary to commission.
Yeah.
And that was really hard. And the negative self-talk that you give yourself of, can I really do this? Are people really going to respond? Are people really going to like me? Am I just a fraud? Am I, like all the negative self-talk that goes through your head. So, and personal, because I'm such a, where personal, I try to not let personal go into professional, but sometimes, yeah, absolutely. And you go through hard things, and, how do you, dealing with grief, dealing with death, all those kinds of things. And, how do you be real? Because I don't like being fake. I don't like pretending that I'm happy. I don't want to be the Debbie Downer either. So, that's quite honestly has probably been the biggest, hurdle, is making sure that I'm being authentic and sharing, because I do think that it's important for my agents to know what's going on with me, but I also don't want it to be the demise of my business, their business, Nikki's business. Yeah. So, yeah.
It's a balancing act.
It is.
Balancing act we all go through at some point in our journey. I'm kind of going through it right now, so
yeah.
I'm hoping to end up on the better end of it, which I think we all will, as long as we keep getting better and better.
Yeah.
And all that fun stuff. But in terms of I know for me when I'm talking to people and I ask just team members, or somebody that I want to either join my team or somebody that I want to do business with in some way. And if they're just things have been great. There's no, and in my head I'm like, I kind of want you to have already messed up.
Yeah.
If you already messed up, you learn the lessons from that, and then you're coming in strong. On our team, when somebody does something and it's what do we learn from it?
Yep.
Great, so that's not going to happen
That's
again.
the only thing that you can do.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go back in time. You can't reverse it. You can only learn from it, or hope that someone wants to learn from it. I really hate the people that are kind of I made a mistake. Whatever. They'll deal with it. And
Yeah.
I'm where's the ownership? It's on you. You did that. Maybe they did need to do something else. Maybe they needed to communicate something else different. but that doesn't mean that there isn't a part that you can also change about yourself and become a better employee, a better boss, a better, mom, a better, whatever it is.
I agree. Yeah, I'm a big believer in take responsibility for everything, and that rubs some people the wrong way, but because then I have control of it. If I say it's not my fault, well, now I can't change anything. And I want to know that if that situation happens again, like, I have some way of making sure, essentially, that it doesn't happen again.
Right.
And that won't happen if I'm like, it's their fault. Or
Right.
that happened because it was a bad client. It's like, no, 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 no. You didn't educate them. They weren't prepared. Like, there's a lot of things that, I could have done to make sure that this was a better experience for both parties.
Absolutely.
So what is that one piece of advice that you would give to somebody who's listening to this video that they could hit close on the video and be like, wow, that's like profound?
Well, I do like to be profound, but this is also something that I'm working on myself.
Which is even better.
Yeah. Is honestly, I was talking about the negative self-talk, not doing that, being positive about yourself, being your own cheerleader, not comparing yourself to others. It's so easy to do that. I absolutely do it. I'm getting better. Sometimes I go through rougher spots where it's harder for me to see that I am a good person, that I am a awesome person and everything. It's like I look back at times in my life and I'm like, oh yeah, like I used to have like an Indian name called Awesome Bear. Like my friends used to call me that because I don't know, I guess I just emanated it and everything.
Is that like the Care Bear?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. But but then you go away, like something brings you down and everything, and making sure that you are going back to that piece of yourself that I'm doing good things. I'm not a bad person. I need to, as much love as I give to somebody else, because I do really enjoy loving on other people, checking on other people, making sure that they're okay, and if they're not okay, letting them know that it's okay that they're not. But then turning around and doing it to myself too. So.
Where do you think that negative voice comes from?
Oh, I mean, life experiences that have happened to me, things, that, people have said, as much. I think that's why I like to say positive things to random strangers all the time, whether or not that sticks in their brains or not. But as we know, it's so easy for the negative to stick in your brain, and I don't feel like, enough positive things are said. So that's why I do that. Yeah, because I do feel like there have been negative things that have been said to me and that I replay in my head and all of that. And that's where it mainly comes from.
Have you ever done an exercise where you like say those negative things out loud, like write them out loud and like literally confront them?
No.
Rather than letting them like live rent free in your head, to like write them out, like either by yourself or with somebody that like loves and supports you through this.
Yeah.
And then you guys just like break that down. That way, if it tries to like pop up, you're like, dude, I already dealt with you.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get to like keep replaying. Like,
that's a great exercise.
On that one.
And when you said that, because you literally said the words rent free, and it reminds me, the song actually was just released. I'm a big music person, like huge. And it's actually up for a Grammy. But it's called Dear Insecurity, and you're writing a letter to your insecurities. And in one of the lyrics is, you're living rent free in my head.